One of the most important and significant outcomes of the National High Command was the initiation or the beginning of an otherwise expansive and organic political, ideological, and organizational discourse on how Mkhonto weSizwe will take power in South Africa on behalf of and for the people of South Africa. To guide this critical work and discourse, the National High Command identified 5 priority areas that will shape our discussions internally on how do we take state power in South Africa. And these areas that we said are going to guide the internal discussions as Mkhonto weSizwe. One, we're going to discuss expansively the MK's revolutionary path to state power. So there's going to be thorough discussions as to how do we take power on behalf of and for the people of South Africa as Mkhonto weSizwe. 2, we're going to have expansive discussions on the domestic, strategic, and tactical alliances. Who are our friends in the pursuit of power for or on behalf of the people here in South Africa? The third component of that is who are our friends strategically and tactically at international level. Then the fourth component of these discussions is how do we finance the revolution. Then the fifth component of what we're going to be discussing as Mkhonto weSizwe is what then should become the character and conduct of an MK revolutionary. That is the discussion which is going to characterize the entire organization from VD level up until the National High Command. The National High Command discussed the terms of reference for each of the mentioned area of focus. These terms of reference will be expanded into comprehensive political positions of Mkhonto weSizwe. All structures of Mkhonto weSizwe at all levels are commanded to, at all given political moment, to discuss Mkhonto weSizwe's path to power and identify both strategic and tactical alliances at the levels where they operate. And they must also discuss how do we finance the revolution, but also what becomes the character and conduct of MK revolutionaries. So instead of discussing squabbles and petty issues that are not relevant, the directive is that there must not be a meeting of Mkhonto weSizwe that does not discuss MK's path to power. How do we take over power here in South Africa as Mkhonto weSizwe? And how and who becomes our friends domestically, globally, and how do we finance the revolution, but also what becomes the conduct of the agents of change, the revolutionaries who are at the forefront of Mkhonto weSizwe as leadership. Whilst appreciating the immediate task of building Mkhonto weSizwe as a formidable political party with functional structures at voting district level, at ward level, at sub-regional level, regional level, provincial level, and national level, Mkhonto weSizwe National High Command also resolved that we should build Mkhonto weSizwe as a leader of a revolutionary total emancipation movement. So we're going to lead a movement. There's a difference between a political party and a political movement. And now as a movement, Mkhonto weSizwe will associate with and lead the following components: a national women's organization, which is the MK Women's League, a youth organization, the MK Youth League, the MK Students Wing, which is the MK Students Movement. We're going to associate with aligned workers' unions in all the sectors. We're going to align and associate in a properly defined political way with civic organizations that should exist in all communities. We're going to, of course, strengthen and have clear relationship that is defined with the ex-combatants and military wing of Mkhonto weSizwe. We're going to also associate with and also found an organization for traditional leadership in South Africa. So there will be an organization which is going to be founded. The process will be led by the national chairperson of all traditional leadership institutions in South Africa. We're going to now finalized the process, which is almost at the tail end of interfaith or interreligious movement. We've got Mkhonto Wesizwe interreligious movement, which is comprised of all faith-based organizations and individuals who are going to mobilize behind Mkhonto Wesizwe. We're going to associate with sympathetic, messianic and mega churches and religious institutions and other religious institutions. We're also going to associate with sympathetic civil society formations that are going to be in the broader umbrella of building a total emancipation movement under the leadership of Mkhonto Wesizwe. So in the period between now and the next meeting of the National High Command, which is going to take place in the second quarter of 2025, what the leadership has mandated the collective to engage on, one is to strengthen the MK Youth and Women's League and make sure that they've got formidable presence in all the regions, sub-regions, wards, VDs of South Africa and have a stable national leadership structure. But also are going to strengthen the MK students movement to exist fully in all universities, universities of technology, and TVET colleges. We're also going to finalize the appointment of the leadership structure of the MK interreligious movement, which is fully established with its own constitution, with its own values, its own principles. We just need to finalize the appointment of the leadership, which must be geographically balanced, must be gender balanced, must include all faith denominations and components within its leadership collective, and must have leadership that comes from all provinces. We're also going to establish a desk of Mkhonto Wesizwe for people with disabilities. We're going to establish a desk in Mkhonto Wesizwe for professionals. So there will be a professionals desk of Mkhonto Wesizwe, which will also play the other role. We're also going to formalize the relationship between Mkhonto Wesizwe and an organization called the Progressive Civics Congress, PCC. The PCC is a civic organization which is growing to be larger than SANCO, and it's existing in different provinces. And we're going to formalize that relationship between the PCC and Mkhonto Wesizwe. We're going to finalize our discussions between the Mkhonto Wesizwe and the African Transformation Movement, the ATM, which is under the spiritual guidance and leadership of Dr. Caesar Nongunga of the 12th Apostle Church in Christ. We already have begun joint programs and activities between Mkhonto Wesizwe and the ATM. We're going to finalize the modalities as to what form and what shape the relationship between Mkhonto Wesizwe and ATM will take going forward to 2026 local government election and towards the total takeover of power in 2029 general elections. And we're going to continue to have engagements with all progressive political formations with the aim of building a common and single electoral platforms for 2026 and 2029. These actions are part of the broader strategic mission to build Mkhonto Wesizwe as a movement and not a small political party. This arises from the objective appreciation that unless and until the MK leads a broader movement, our hegemony will not be thoroughly exerted across all spheres of society. Provincial, regional, sub-regional, and ward structures of Mkhonto Wesizwe must identify, characterize, and build sound relationships with all major black organizations, formations, and societies, inclusive of religious institutions, civic organizations, civil society formations, and all structures where our people are organized.